watching Life Today Plus. I'm Randy Robinson. I have Pastor Samuel Rodriguez of the New Season Church in Sacramento, California, and he is also the president of the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, when we roll out the title, Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference, it obviously brings up the issue of race. What is the significance of coalescing around a race? As Christians, there is no, really Hispanic, no white, no black, but yet
it's more there. Yeah. Well, the reality is that we live in a very globalized world, and in the spirit of Revelation chapter 1, seeing everyone coming together, worshiping the Lamb, all races and creeds, I understand that my number one moniker when I wake up in the morning is not that I'm Hispanic or American or black, white, or yellow. I'm a Christian. I'm a child of the living God. I am a born-again believer, and that's my number one descriptor. The organization was formed for the purpose of mobilizing Hispanic Christian believers around biblical truth and building a firewall of righteousness and justice. So it's actually there for the purpose of assimilating into the collective kingdom culture, and likewise helping Hispanic Americans understand that we are an integral part of a wonderful thing we call the American experience. So it's actually a bridge towards integration and assimilation.
How do you keep it as a unifying force and not a divisive one? Because race obviously can be very divisive.
We repudiate, we push back intentionally. It's part of our DNA from day one against the idea of spiritual or cultural myopia. Hispanics, like African Americans, have suffered, not to the same degree, but have suffered discrimination and racism, and we've been through our own personal journey and narrative. We don't want to repeat that for years to come. And for that sake, we're even looking at Hispanic pastors. We tell Hispanic pastors that the measurement, the true metrics of success in the 21st century is when they reach out to all communities. We want Hispanic American churches, quote unquote, just to be the church of Jesus Christ. I am one that believes that our churches are still too segregated, that our communities are way too segregated. I believe the greatest unifying force upon the planet is the church of Jesus Christ. And I am one, this is maybe a tad controversial, I believe that Sunday mornings, that your church should reflect the ethnic demographical makeup of your community. That is to say, if you live in a very diverse community and you have a lily white church or a brown only church or a black only church, you're suffering of cultural and spiritual myopia. We should reach everyone with the transformative power of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And we need to go beyond those ethnic and cultural myopic lenses and look at everyone through the lens of grace and mercy. So we have an organization that not only adheres to that, that's our foundational and moral imperative in making sure we look like the kingdom of God.
Good, I like that. What do you hear when a white guy, maybe even a pastor, preacher, or religious figure stands up and rails against illegal immigration? And maybe they say the word illegal, maybe they don't. Right.
It's bothersome, but not for what you may think. It's bothersome as a Christian. I am a Bible-believing, Christ-centered Christian. And because I'm committed to biblical orthodoxy, to biblical truth, and I'm a staunch 125% pro-lifer. Because I am a pro-lifer, I have a problem with deeming any human being as illegal. Because I'm a pro-lifer, not because I'm Hispanic.
Well, but
because the term, to call someone illegal, the act that they commit may be illegal, and I would agree. It's illegal, it's a violation of the sovereignty of our nation. We don't want people coming in here illegally. I'm the first one signing on to that. But to call a human being illegal, it actually gives fodder to the ideas of Margaret Sanger. It's repetitious of the Joseph Goebbels sort of rhetoric in Nazi Germany. It's the beginning of a pathway of delegitimizing that human being. So I'm opposed to the idea of illegal. What they have committed is an illegal act. As illegal human beings, that sort of rhetoric runs counter to our Christian worldview. These individuals are undocumented. They came in here illegally, without saying. But to call a human being illegal, that's not part of what I believe is a strong pro-life agenda that all Christians should adhere to.
It's interesting that you hear it that way, because I know when I use the term, when I hear most people use the term, it's not applied to the person as it is to the status. In
Again,
other words, the Immigration Act was illegal, therefore you're illegally
Yeah.
here. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I've used the term and never thought of it as attaching to the person, so it's interesting that you would hear it that way.
From a social psychological viewpoint, it begins to permeate the mass culture, and we begin to look at individuals by the very descriptors that we engage in.
Yeah.
So we begin to dilute the value of the individual by calling them illegal. Again, that's not to justify the criminal act or the illegal act.
Right, I hear you.
It is to, let's push away. Christians need to have a very strong worldview, and if you're staunchly pro-life like I am, we don't want to call human beings illegal.
Yeah, so if a pastor is going to discuss the idea of immigration.
Undocumented individuals, people that came in here illegally, they could use that sort of phraseology, but let's be very careful. And even with the immigration issue, the fact that they came in here illegally is one thing. The fact that we as a nation have a responsibility. We're a sovereign nation. We have the right to protect our border. There's a narco-trafficking war in Mexico. Yeah. It's a de facto war. It is a war. And the vestiges and the ramifications of that war are beginning to impact border states. And Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. It's beginning to impact California. It's beginning to impact border states. But to be honest with you, we have about 8 to 10 million undocumented individuals in this country. What do we do with them? We can't deport 10 million individuals. I am one that has proposed a just immigration strategy. I believe there's a Christian solution. The donkey and the elephant have failed miserably in finding a solution. I think the best answer comes from the Lamb's agenda. And a biblical worldview agenda would be reconciling Romans 13 with Leviticus 19. Leviticus 19, treat the stranger and the alien amongst you as one of yourself. Romans 13 is adhere to the rule of law. The Christian answer to this is, let's deport the bad guys. Let's find out every single undocumented individual who came in here to engage in some sort of nefarious activity. Let's get rid of the gangbangers, drug traffickers, the rapists, the major felons. Let's deport them immediately. As a matter of fact, I'm opposed to American taxpayers paying for air-conditioned cells and plasma TVs in prisons for individuals that shouldn't have been here in the first place. Let's deport them. Second, let's look at the 98.3% that are left that came in here to give their families a better way. Now, they should never have come in here illegally, mind you. They broke the law, but they're here, and we can't deport them. Why can't we deport them? It's impossible. It's not practical. We don't have the money or the resources.
I don't even think it's smart. I told my dad, because in Texas, I've grown up with a lot of Mexican and other Central and South American people here. And they are generally, as a rule, hard workers, good family people.
Well,
as I told my dad, let's make a deal with the left. We keep all the illegal immigrants who don't have a criminal record, and we send all the Occupy Wall Street protesters.
That's good.
Right? Well, I'd take that any day of the week.
Well, look, the funny thing is that these undocumented, this community, all by Pew Research now and by other research bases, here it is. This community that we're trying to deport, it is the #1 most Christ-centered, God-fearing community according to Pew Research.
I believe it.
Now, this is important to note. We may be deporting the future of American Christianity and evangelicalism.
Yeah.
This community is the most Christ-centered, God-fearing, family-oriented, faith-filled community right now in America. We may be deporting the very salvation of American evangelicalism. This is true now. If we deport these individuals, what do we have left? The American evangelical church is declining. The major denominations are experiencing significant decreases in new church plants. From the Southern Baptist to the Assemblies of God, Church of God, Foursquare, wonderful denominations, but without their Hispanic demographical growth pattern, they would be experiencing not net growth, they would be experiencing decreases every single year. These denominations are growing or at least stagnant to a degree because of the Hispanic community. Without the Hispanic faith community, American evangelicalism would swipe down a hill, and a steep hill going down to such a road that it would end up in the abyss of postmodern Europe. This community may very well redeem the American Christian narrative. I think there's a better way. Let's make all these people that are here, outside of the criminals now, those that have been involved in nefarious activity, let's put them in the back of the line. Let's not give them amnesty. Right. Let's make them go to the back of the line. Let's get them a guest worker program, work, pay taxes. We don't want these people depending on government subsidies or welfare. Right. Absolutely not. if you can somehow demonstrate to the government that you have a viable form of obtaining income, a legal way, let's do that. Let's provide a guest worker program. You provide a service. You're working. You're keeping up for your family. You're providing household income. Let's make sure you go to the back of the line, then you apply for citizenship later on. It may take 5, 10, 15 years, whatever it may take, but you're going to do it the right way. Let's make them pay fines for coming in here illegally. Let's make sure they demonstrate proficiency in the English language. Let's do all of that. Let's create a criteria. But deporting them is not practical. Integrating them, I think it's a viable solution. And by the way, it may very well be the salvation of American Christianity.
How does a pastor approach this whole topic? You know, Spanish language services, do you think those are good ideas?
Yeah, well, a pastor first should go way beyond the issue of the politics. Yeah. Our agenda is the Lamb's agenda. So we reach out to all people. We need to enact the famous 1990s adage from the Clinton administration, don't ask, don't tell. Basically, that's not our job. Our job is to reach the lost with the love of Christ, regardless of status, and we shouldn't even get into status. That's the federal government's job. Let's have uncles. We pay enough money through our taxes for Uncle Sam to do what they should be doing, right. What he should be doing or the government should be doing. Let them do their job. We take care of preaching the good news. But it's Spanish services, providing, let's begin with step one. Let's have some headphones with a Spanish translator. When that begins to grow, provide a Spanish service. Hispanics are practically everywhere today. It's no longer Texas, California, Florida, and the Southwest. Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming. The Carolinas are booming. Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia. It's a booming community, and we are here. Hispanic Americans are here. We're not going anywhere. The question is, how do Hispanic Americans transform the collective American narrative? I have this phrase, this story that I share. People ask, why are Hispanics here? How are we going to change America? Or, does that mean we're going to, replace apple pie with Taco Bell? And at the end of the day, I believe the very prophetic purpose of our community lies embedded in the term Hispanic. Let me break this down for you. Why does God have us here? Hispanic. 2 syllables. First, His, capital H. Second, panic. Now, panic is the part that everybody focuses on, unfortunately. But we are His panic. I don't think we're here to teach America salsa, merengue, the cha-cha-cha, or the mariachi. We're not here to increase anyone's dividend portfolio who has invested wisely or unwisely in Taco Bell, and we're not here to make anyone press 1 for English or press 2 for Spanish. We are here to bring panic to the kingdom of darkness in the holy name of Jesus Christ. That's why this community is here. We are His panic. So I think every single person that's viewing this should embrace the possibility that maybe God is up to something. Yeah. And maybe we're about to see a great awakening in the 21st century. And this great new awakening may not have names such as Edwards and Whitfield and Spurgeons and Moody, but it may have Sanchez, Rivera, Padilla. It may very well be different surnames, but a very prophetic outcome, which is the salvation of this nation as a new generation experiences the glory of the risen Christ.
Same God, one purpose.
Absolutely.
Excellent. If someone wants to get to know you a little better, maybe listen to some of your sermons, things like that, what's your website? HispanicEvangelicals.com. They could see us on YouTube, Reverend Samuel Rodriguez. Follow us on Facebook, Reverend Samuel Rodriguez, and Twitter, likewise, Samuel Rodriguez. Excellent. Be sure to check Pastor Samuel Rodriguez out when he's on Live Today at lifetoday.org. And thanks for talking openly and candidly and spending a few minutes with me.
Thank you for having me.